Following back-to-back power outages that has disrupted businesses and also the general mood in the country within the last few days, many people consider it is high time Kenya deals away with the Kenya Power and Lighting Company, or at least spearhead radical reforms in the energy sector. That is the thought domiciled in many of Kenyans, and that is particularly our subject today on Business Glide, your go-to point on matters public policy analysis, business and economics at large. I'm yours truly, Richard Mwanjo. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Now with me on this conversation is none other than the thought leader himself, Herman Manyora, East Africa's renowned political analyst and public scholar. Welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you, Richard.
How are you doing?
Wonderful.
From a general perspective, here is what one thought leader has suggested. The only way we can handle persistent power outages is by President William Ruto signing an executive order collapsing KPLC, KTRACO and GDC, that is Geothermal Development Corporation, and consolidating them, then handing over everything to KDF engineers. The military will efficiently handle this menace by Kenya Power and other related parastatals. You've always shown confidence with the Kenya Defence Forces. On the energy sector, do you feel time is right?
There is so much corruption in the energy sector. I would hesitate to take the military there. They could be affected with the corruption there.
Really?
If you are looking for corruption in Kenya, it resides in the energy sector.
In the energy sector?
I wouldn't want to take our military there. I will go for a simpler option.
Which is?
The simple option is, let's say people want power. Therefore, there's a market for power, right?
Sure.
And people can generate power. Let's liberalize.
Liberalize?
Yes. Simple.
No more monopoly?
No. If somebody can look at a region and say there are 1,000 homes here, and he can generate the power and sell to us, so be it.
Give them the license?
Yes.
And the heat business?
Yes. If there's a river at my home with a small force, and I can generate enough for the village, nobody should stand in my way. That's the only way.
If you have
there are no two ways about it.
If you have abundance wind in your
the government has invested in a lot of billions in geothermal, which is not cost effective. They can stay with it. Let the people harvest wind, solar. Let sugar companies put power onto the grid. Let there be generators, transmitters, and consumers in a free market.
In a free market?
Yes. Let KPLC die the way Telecom died.
Or at least Mumia's Sugar.
Let KPLC, they call themselves Kenya Power or KPLC, whichever word they best, whatever moniker they want to use, KPLC, Kenya Power. Let them die the way Telecom died.
Find an alternative.
Yes. Just say, nani anataka kuuza stima Kenya hii, kuja tu. Masharti tu, utalipa license kidogo wa Kenya wafurahi. Secondly, security issues.
Aren't you afraid that will be doing away with the national pride that has been Kenya Power this far?
Pride is in having power. What pride is there in having 20 hours of darkness?
Not just having a name that
People
has
have
been
lived in America, ask them whether they have seen a power failure. They'll tell them they have never heard of it. Somebody has been there for 20 years. Ajai kuona sima imepotea siku moja. One day.
Some people consider it a national shame to do away with the parastatals that have been there since independence.
No, let us not mix things.
Sure.
There are parastatals that can make money. Let them make money. Let Kenya Power make money. Nobody is shutting it down. Let them just make money alongside other competitors.
No bailouts?
No. Zero.
Make money or go
I support the idea of the government doing business, but making money.
Very well. Rightly put there. Yes. Following the disruption that was witnessed in the recent few days, we've seen radical measures being spearheaded by Kipchumba Murkomen, the CS for Transport and Infrastructure. One of them being the reshuffling of those in charge in critical sectors. And say now the Kenya Airports Authority manager, MD, was sacked, others being reshuffled. Do you think that's one of the reforms we can deal with incompetency?
That's knee-jerk
reaction.
And then it looks like unfairness.
How
of course, there's people also are not understanding. They are saying Muchumba. Someone is saying even Murkomen should sack some CS, and yet he's a CS. People are wondering why not Kenya Power. What Murkomen is attending to is not about the power. That's under Chirichiri.
Yeah, energy CS.
What he's saying, how can you be in charge of the airport and not have functional standby generators?
Backup resources.
Go home. That's right. I support
that.
It.
So energy Churchill should do that in the energy sector.
Now
also.
he should tell us what happened to the power. But there's no answer. Answer is just one.
And that is?
Liberalize the energy sector.
Just that.
Let's deal with those contracts.
Power purchase agreements?
Yes, let's deal with them. I know they have protected themselves. They have covered themselves. You can't do this, but we'll deal with them. Liberalize it.
But looking at even those power purchase agreements, this is where the government has tried to make some effort. Task force was spearhead, was
task
formed.
forces, they never get anywhere. Have you seen a task force that's done anything in this country?
You've seen the recommendations, among them being to trade in local currency, to also go for cheaper power purchase agreements.
How did even that one get there? But have they told you how you'll handle the contract agreements, the breach and everything inside there? It's so easy to talk, but there are issues inside those contracts.
Heads up to roll.
Yeah.
Very well then.
We need to deal with people at the level of corruption. If you are the PS Energy, you violated the law by being directly involved, by being a beneficiary. Let's jail you first. Because you are protected, the contracts are protecting the people.
Some immunity.
With very clear provisions, including trading in dollars, payment in dollars, including paying for power, whether or not it has been supplied and used. Fine, we shall deal with the legal. That's complicated, but we'll deal with it. But first, let's arrest people who came up with those contracts and put them in jail. Then we shall look at this contract and we shall see a few things inside.
You only need the will to do that.
The will, nothing else. You just need somebody like Manyora in State House and everything works.
You summon Joe Sang, come here.
I don't even summon him. I just sack him and get a Kenyan who can do it. There are many Kenyans who can do these things.
There?
Of course.
I thought those were the best we had. That's why they got into that position.
They could be good, but they've been polluted because of the environment.
Just 1 year into the office and you're already polluted.
My friend, when Kibaki came, it took 6 months for people who had been begging for mandazi and chai to become billionaires.
Moving on swiftly on this conversation, if we are looking at now cleaning the mess that is in the energy sector, do you then support that we should first do away with politicizing the energy issue? We've seen a number of say it is high time North Rift members of parliament go for CS Energy Churchill the same way they went for Babu Namwamba. We're already failing.
Those things are not important. Blame is, we don't want to blame Churchill or anybody. What for? Let's just do the right thing, which is let us liberalize the energy sector. Let's put a few people in jail, those who came up with these funny contracts. Those who had clashes of interest, what do you call it? What the interest what?
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest. Those who entered into, put the government into bad contracts, and then they were benefiting. Let's arrest them and put them in jail. Yeah. Let's terminate those we can terminate, either through mutual consent or through looking at the provisions and getting loopholes. I've had some lawyers say you can't do anything about it. It's not true.
You can?
Yes. If something, there's what is called public good. We can we can terminate your contract in the interest of the public by going to interrogate the signing stage. Public. And say that even you, at the time you are entering into this contract, you didn't take interest of the public.
Public good is supreme.
Yes, I've read the law. That lawyer, I don't think we don't know law.
Moving on swiftly, yes. Sir. The writing is on the wall. If you look and try to compare power tariffs region-wise, Kenya's power tariffs are among the most expensive in the region. Yet we have the capacity to generate electricity, Olkari and a number of other geothermal developments we are trying to really ramp up. Would you then say that we are where we are at because of gross incompetence and just that we don't have the will to?
Not incompetent. Of course, incompetence is there, but greed.
Just greed.
When we went into this energy sector contracts, including the geothermal and all these wind power,
Loyangalani and all.
People just wanted to make billions. So we are greedy, we want money, as if money is oxygen. People are dying and leaving this money and people are still making without knowing. So it's not incompetence alone, it's mainly greed. People just want to make billions and billions.
But do you believe you have the capacity as a nation to even supply to other nations.
Of course. Why not?
Why not?
What is so difficult about generating electricity? And you remember what you must also know. Many of the investors across the world are people who have billions, and they are generational in their approach. They are not like Kenyans who want to invest money today and harvest tomorrow. They are global companies. If they knew you are willing to give them an opportunity in a liberalized sector, they can come and invest in the energy with 30 years in mind. Someone can just come and focus on the sun and invest 10 billion
in solar energy.
Someone can come with his $80 billion and invest in an aspect of energy generation.
Wind power.
And he doesn't want to break even tomorrow or next year or 10 years. He's focusing on 20 years.
Long-term investment.
They are there. There are people there. They will come.
We want instant
but they are frustrated because they know those who are here are people who want to reap profits quickly and cut deals and shortcuts and make billions. So we lock out the real investors. Real investors are people who bring in the dollar without expecting returns tomorrow. Long-term investment. They are there, but we frighten them away because of our corruption, our greed, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
As we conclude the show, there are many who believe that it is time we have a cabinet reshuffle, and probably when it comes to the energy sector, put someone there with the authority, the demeanor that really speaks into reason. Say, get someone like Fred Matiang'i to be in charge of the energy sector. Do you believe that has been our problem this far, getting the wrong people at the energy sector?
You know, it depends on. Church is a very capable person. I respect Church because he's quite capable, very intelligent. But you see, if you are part of a system that is rotten, there's not much you can do. You can come and you are Matiang'i, you make a lot of noise and a lot of work at the same time. But you could also live there with a few billions.
You can get
if the system is bad, many of the individuals you put in that system will also be affected. Because you put somebody in charge of a docket where within a year he can make 10 billion, he will make. We are all human beings. So you do that which renders the human part irrelevant. In other words, if you liberalize the energy sector, it doesn't matter who the energy minister is. He can be the best, he can be the most incompetent, he can be the most rotten, he can be the biggest thief, but he will not stand in the way of somebody generating power at Ngong through wind. Kuna baridi. Mtu anaweka kitu yake pale ana generate power anauzia watu wa Ngong.
At an affordable price.
Yes. The price will be dictated by market forces. Yeah.
Very well. There you have it. That point by Herman Manyora takes us to the wrap of this conversation today, talking matters reforms in the energy sector and also matters to do with the Kenya Power and Lighting Company, following, of course, the recent national blackout that has been experienced, and probably what could be the problem, and probably what are the recommended solutions. That can only come from the firebrand himself, Herman Manyora, nuggets of wisdom on how to better rectify the situation. Time now for Phone of the Week. It is none other than Mama Leah Kemei from Kapkoi, Saisol Village.
From Kapkoi, Leah Kemei.
Yeah, sure.
Chamuge. Thank you very much for being part of this family.
All right.
You are welcome, seriously.
Right, asanteni sana. Continue watching our other shows on the channel. That is Jadiel Kabiro, Evans Okenyi, and Mundia Gitau. Still on this particular channel. On Saturdays, head over and watch Herman Manyora, his exclusive show, talking matters, politics, and general governance in this country. Until next time, God bless you. I'm Richard Mwanji.